welcome back to the Nicole Fucks Her Relationship Up podcast.
Second straight episode of
that
Heat.
was.
Is that you want to start with that?
I'm just telling you, dude. That was a camera that was Velcroed to the wall, and they had no idea it was there. Also, how great is it that they had a system where Melissa will just be like, "Let's go do puzzles in bed."
How about the tree fort?
Bro, every time I have puzzles in bed, I end up with another kid. So it's a hard no from me when I hear about puzzles in bed.
See,
They had to know. Instantly, you had to know who does puzzles in bed.
people that's trying to fit a piece into a small
my
little...
face fits perfectly in your beaver. There's the puzzle.
She was hunting for beavers, dude.
Bro,
Beaver hunting.
Nicole is Melissa's bitch because she chows her out at a moment's notice. And then in the final, anytime they fucked up the picnic scene, Melissa sat on the ground while Nicole ran back and forth.
Bro, that's true.
Nicole
is submissive to Melissa.
She's a sex slave.
She is,
And
dude.
by the editing, I know it was probably edited. It literally looked like Melissa was like, you need to
handle this.
handle this, and that's all.
Get out.
Get out.
I love. Okay, so all right, we'll just dive right into that. So, they show the bunk where the ladies set up little curtains. They tried to block the cameras.
That's typically something that people will do when they want darkness when they sleep. But let's just say it's 2025. People have been setting up the sex fortress for a long time on the challenge. You're not fooling anyone.
Right.
So much so that they now have Velcro cameras that they put on the wall.
The GoPro.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So I have some questions regarding this situation. Let's start with that one because you brought up the camera.
I wasn't there.
You brought up the camera. Is it fair or foul for them to put that GoPro inside the fort? Which, by the way, it's like a 10-year-old sleepover fort. Minus, it's
a lot-
a little raunchier than
That if that's what's happening at 10-year-old sleepovers, then
not what I'm saying.
that's crazy.
But the fort, you make the fort.
Right.
Okay,
Or
fair or foul for production to put it in there?
fair.
100% fair.
100% fair.
Okay.
You sign a thing basically saying everything you do is going to be documented. And then you do try, like, people do make a sport out of trying to do things off camera, and they're going to figure out a way to catch it. You can run. But
All right.
you can't hide from
I'm going to give you a bet, okay? Over under 0.25 seconds from the moment that Nicole entered the fort to the fact that the undergarments were off. Was it faster or slower than 0.25 seconds?
I thought they were off as Nicole sauntered in.
Taking the under, huh?
Yeah.
Faster than
As
that.
Nicole sauntered in.
You're here, these off.
Depends on when you start the clock.
You got to go back and watch the tape.
Oh, dude, that was...
It's over under.
Poor Nicole. Do you think Nicole's ex-girlfriend is watching this season?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kim is pissed.
She's definitely not enjoying it.
Impossible. Oh, it is
But you know
possible.
what? The best part about this challenge is like it shows how multifaceted people can be. Like, for example, Melissa goes from getting her biscuit eaten to the next scene talking about how hard it is to be a single mom. Multifaceted, layered people. Gotta love it.
Complex.
You know what it shows us is like, even if you are a single mom who's busting your ass, if there's a hot lesbian around and you need her to lick your snatch, you can do that and still be the hardworking single mom that just needed to get a load off.
Yeah. Just make the arrangements. Make sure that everything's taken care of at home.
Yeah. And then do puzzles in bed.
Absolutely.
Hours and hours of puzzles in bed.
You know something about honey and jam? Goes good on a biscuit.
I thought
Taste the biscuit.
Nicole will taste the goodness of the biscuit.
The honey's out.
Yeah, she did. That was foul.
All right, we'll start from the top.
That was so foul.
It starts with the 4 remaining teams coming back after the Nani and Turbo elimination from Adam and Steve. So Adam hasn't been to a final since the Gauntlet, which, just so you guys know, final episode of that season aired on January 26th, 2004, just to give you some perspective.
January 6th, 2004.
What were you doing January 6th, 2004?
I was a sophomore in high school. So I was January 6th, depending on the day, if it was a Tuesday or Friday, I was playing basketball. But it was probably a Wednesday because that's the day the challenge aired back then. So I was probably playing basketball in high school.
Nice.
I was in 2004. By the end of 2004, I was 17.
So 2003, I would have been...
So I was 16 when that
You were
aired.
16 when it aired. That would make me 12 when it aired. So that means I was in my first semester moving from Hazlitt, Michigan, which is outskirts of East Lansing, to Brighton. So this is my first 5-6 months in Brighton. Kids were making fun of me, and
You didn't even know that the
handling
challenge was a thing at that point.
no, I didn't.
I actually may have watched that episode. Maybe
I knew what the real world was.
everyone knew what the real world was back then because it was like the only reality television show. It was like the beginning of it.
Yeah.
That's why I know it sounds like people, sometimes there's like a little bit of like a cliche. It's like, oh, you were on the real world like that. You're a loser. Like who wants to do that? But I also have a lot of pride in it because it's the pioneer of reality television shows. Like we were on, Real World was around before the Kardashians.
Yes.
So it's like pretty cool to be a part of that.
Absolutely. It's something that everyone of a certain age knows.
If I had to choose a way to get into reality TV, I would rather go everything I've seen and done and know now. I'd still rather go Real World Challenge than that.
You wouldn't do the OC or The Bachelor?
No, dude. If I was on The Bachelor,
You're not cut out for a dating show.
I'm not a CBS guy.
No, you're not. You're not. Bachelor's
I'm
ABC
not
though.
PC.
No, you're not.
So I'm not ABC either.
No.
But I would love to do Traders.
Hey, there's still time. As I said, we might,
But yeah,
provisionals.
Adam's in a final for the first time.
That's right.
In 21 years.
Yep. And then, before that whole scene that we talked about with Melissa, she swears up and down, left and right, that they're just friends and there's nothing romantic going on. It could not be romantic. I don't know. Nicole says that her and Mel got really tight this season. They got tight, all right. Tight lies, dude.
Tight lies.
Tight lies. So anyways, another question about that situation is, what are the chances that this physical connection off the field helps them on the field? Do you think it helps them in the final?
No, I don't think it makes any difference how they do in the final. Here's the thing. They can very well be friends and do that. Like, that's not something that like, oh, we're just friends and we bump uglies. That's fine. The problem is Nicole has a girlfriend that she's like, oh, I want to have kids with her. She's like,
I'm going to stand up for them. It's bumping beauties when it comes down to
listen,
bumping beeves.
Listen, Nicole brings out the heart of the lesbian, the eye of the tiger in Melissa.
Leave it to Beaver.
Leave the beaver to Nicole. What's happening is Nicole is in a relationship and Melissa is trying to protect that. If she was being honest in those interviews, she would probably say, Nicole and I have a sexual past from vendettas. We've hooked up on and off, and we're all, you're in a house and you're bored and it helps pass the time. But she's trying to protect, in her interviews, Nicole's relationship.
I think we know when this heated up, and I made a point to bring it up during the show. Whenever Nicole starts wearing makeup in the interviews, you know what's happening.
Oh, you think so?
That is for sure when the switch flipped. In terms of like, all right, now they really turned it up. In my opinion, I haven't talked to Nicole about it, but I really want to get Nicole, get your ass up here. Leave New York.
She didn't want to get harassed on the couch. That's why she's not here for this one.
She'll get cuddled. But we are going to make fun of her.
I would make I will be making fun of her for the rest of her life.
All right. Well, all is fair in love and war, and in the challenge is both. So no privacy, name of the game. So they go to the finals dinner. Okay. Dave Vaughn, in her side interview, she talks about her faith and how Christ has been her guiding light. Thank you, Dave Vaughn. We need a reminder. I need Jesus.
You definitely do.
I do.
You're like the worst Catholic besides Joe Biden.
I went to confession on Monday.
Oh, good. So you can take the Eucharist
yes.
this weekend.
So I went confession, rosary, Eucharist. Mm-hmm. I need to go back. Be honest.
All right.
Be honest with you.
Didn't do anything.
No, it did something.
You have so much sin. It's going to take a lot more than one scrubbing to get it off.
It did something. It's just when you have a lot of chalk, you got to wash the chalkboard often.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's dusty in here.
You definitely need to.
It's dusty in here. Especially after you called the couch a sexy couch. I had a couple girls that say, "How sexy is it?" I might have had to show them. I might have had to show.
Is that why all the legs are duct taped?
That concludes the free preview of the Zach Nichols podcast.
So go to Patreon and subscribe to see the rest of the shit that we talk.
Go do it now.